Hello everyone, my name is Griffin Swanson from Professional Advantage, and today I'm going to be walking you through our Collect 365 module from Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. Thank you for taking the time today to attend. What I want to do here today is walk you through some of the setup items as well as some of the features and give you a high-level overview of how this product works. With that being said, what I want to do here is start with a couple of those setup items. So if we go here into Business Central right now, we're looking at our Collection Role Center. And this is my first page that I see when I log into Business Central due to my role here in the settings. Now, you can have a number of different roles set up here in Business Central. If you're not a collector, no worries at all. You're still going to be able to search through our features here by typing in Collect 365 in the Business Central search bar. You can see here our features are listed with that naming convention. But if you are a collector here, you're going to want to be set up as a collector for your available role, and then when you log into Business Central, you'll be prompted with this page here, our Collection Role Center. And what that does is it gives you a high-level overview of your collection activities, seeing the total amount overdue that you need to follow up on, your pending notes or your pending tasks, your overdue notes and tasks, as well as your completed notes and tasks. Now, we can set up these tiles in two different ways, which leads me to my second point here when it comes to setup. So if we type in Collect 365 setup at the top here, you can see we have a number of different setup options. I'm not going to walk through these individually here today, but you can see we can set up things like aging periods. We're just using the standard Business Central formulas to set this up, but these aging buckets will be reflected throughout the Collect 365 module. You can define your query fields here. We'll touch on the queries later on in this demonstration. Your collectors, collection letters, as well as your actions and statement formats. Now you can see a number of different setup items here as well, and the one that I want to focus on right now is the default filters for collection tiles. So going back to the Collection Role Center, you can set that up in one of two ways. You can have it to where those tiles are filtered to you as the collector, allowing you to focus in on your individual collection tasks, or you could have no filter there, which is going to show you all of your collection tasks as a company. Now, you can also have notes automatically created when you send emails here too. You can have no note created, an open note or closed note, and then you can have that note selected here as well, prompting a template for those collection notes. But hopping back to the Role Center here again, this is going to show you your collection activities, so I can see the over amount due as a collector. What this does is it highlights the invoices that are already past due, allowing me to follow up on those. And then we have pending, overdue, and completed notes. And the reality is these notes here are acting as your collection tasks. So I have one pending note here telling me that I need to follow up with this customer in the near future on January 15th, 2025. More importantly, as a collector, I can see 6 notes that are already past due telling me that I need to follow up with these customers right away. And then as a collector here, if I ever need to look back on my collection tasks that have been completed, I have a view for that as well. Now, once collectors have reviewed that Role Center, the next step that we'll see them take is drill into the Collect 365 Hub. This is going to give you your entire customer list and allow you to drill into those customers individually. So when I drill into the Hub here, you can see it shows me my entire customer list. But as a collector, I might want to focus in and filter those who are assigned to me. So you can see here we're using the standard Business Central filters in the top right-hand corner that allow me to filter this Collect 365 Hub. There's a number of different filters that we have here along with Business Central, but the one that I want to focus in on today is the collector filter. So I could say to myself, okay, show me everyone as the admin and who's assigned to me. So I have 3 customers that meet that criteria. Now, when you select those customers, you can see off to the right-hand side showing some of those payment statistics, as well as your customers' aging, which go back to the buckets that you set up in Collect 365. So let's drill into the School of Fine Art here. This brings me into the second page here of the Collect 365 Hub, showing me some general information, and this is really just being pulled from the customer card in Business Central, as well as the customer ledger entries. So I can see here who that customer is, who the collector is assigned to them. I can see their payment term codes, or if they're blocked and on hold. I have a credit limit here, and then we can see some of the AR balances. Now, I mentioned that this is very compatible with the customer ledger entries. So for example here, I can see the overdue balance for this customer, School of Fine Art, is $52,000. So if I drill into this, I notice they're all past due invoices highlighted in red, and I can follow up on those by creating a note or sending a one-off email from this window. And I'm going to do that here in just a couple of minutes. But I want to highlight a couple of other things within this customer hub. I can see who the contacts are for that customer, typically the people we're following up with when it comes to collections. I can see their active notes down here at the bottom. And then again, we have those payment statistics off to the right-hand side. We can see when the last payment date was for that customer and that payment amount. And then again, we have those aging buckets listed down here off to the right-hand side too. So if I drill into this, going to pull open that customer ledger entry window. I can see those past due invoices. And then if we wanted to, we could actually drill into that specific invoice from here. That's going to show us the line item details as well as the total amount. So again, Collect 365 is very compatible with Standard Business Central and the customer ledger entries, which is great, right? But how are we actually following up on those past due invoices? We're going to do that here from the Communication tab, where we can send a one-off email or create a new note, which again, everyone, is acting as a follow-up task. And when we drill into the Collect 365 notes here for a particular customer, it's going to show us the most open and current notes they have available. You notice as I select these individually, we do have this information over off to the right-hand side, which gives us a high-level overview of that note showing the description, as well as any attachments that were included. But I mentioned here from this window, it's going to show us the most open and current notes available for that particular customer. You see here we have a column that's called Note Revisions, telling us that a few of these notes here have been revised or are historical. And you notice at the top of the window here, we have the ability to include closed and canceled notes, as well as include old revisions. So if I select this here, you notice it's going to separate those notes out in colors. If it's listed as red, that means the note is considered historical. So for example here today, everyone, I'm going to drill back into this note here and ask myself, okay, what changes did I make to that note along the way? So let's just hop to the fourth revision here, actually. I notice here I'm on note revision number 4 for this particular customer, and you notice all of the fields are locked, and that's by design, right? We don't want users coming in and editing a historical note. This allows us to review the history of that note over time. There's note revision number 5, note revision number 6, and then as we get to the most current and open note here, I now have the ability to edit that. You notice they're still locked by design here, but if I select edit, we're now on note revision number 8, and the fields within this are now opened up for me to edit along the way. So we'll put testing here for demo, and we'll put a new follow-up date here of January 15th, 2025, and I can change that follow-up date here on the right-hand side. So that's another change that we've made to that note. If I go back to the notes now, I can see here note revision number 8, and if I leave this window, simply drill back into it. Again, just showing you here, it's going to highlight the most open and current notes. And if you want to create a new note from scratch, you can absolutely do that here in the top left-hand corner. Obviously, this will open up all the fields by design, being that it is a brand new note. You can see here it does date and timestamp the note when you created that. You can assign an action ID to this, which is essentially the follow-up task that you're performing. Let's send a reminder email here. And then I can attach invoices to this particular note to follow up on. You'll notice here all of these invoices for this particular customer are past due, so they're highlighted in red. We can select one or multiple invoices, and once we've done that, it's going to show you the document total and total due amount that is tailored to those invoices you've selected. Now off to the right hand side here, you can schedule a follow-up date. We just did the 15th on the previous note, so let's go with the 22nd here. We'll keep this status listed as open, and this no priority is just a regular priority. Again, we're testing with demo today. Testing. And then I can see the invoices that we selected here down at the bottom. So I've created a new note now. You can see that here, testing with a demo. But what I want to do is go all the way back to the collection roll center at this time. You notice nothing has changed at the moment, but if I refresh this page, I now have new pending notes for follow-up. One being the one that we did edit, telling us we need to follow up here on the 15th, and then the new note that we just created here for a follow-up on the 22nd. So again, everyone, those notes are acting as a follow-up task and are going to be filtered back to your collection activities or the role center for quick and easy follow-up. And then hopping back into the Collect 365 hub here, I want to show everyone how to send a one-off email when it comes to collecting from your customers. So we'll stick here with the School of Fine Art here today, go back to the Communication tab, and we have the ability here to send a one-off email. The first thing it's going to highlight here is some of that general information for that particular customer, but you notice the one field that is required here in the top right hand corner is a letter format, or essentially an email template, if you will. Now we have a few that come with the product by design. If you download the module from the app source, you're going to get a couple such as the initial letter. If you select this initial letter here, the field right below that is called Document Copies Required. This is telling me no, I do not need to attach invoices here to send this email. So if I wanted to, I could deselect each one of these invoices here and process the email at that time. However, if I select this overdue letter, you'll notice this field now changes to yes. So I don't have any invoices selected or credit memos. So if I go to email this letter, it's going to give me a pop-up here telling me that I need to select at least one of those invoices or credit memos before I send this off. So I'm going to do that here at this time. Got 2 invoices selected. And for those of you asking, okay, what if I want to attach something outside of Business Central? We do have this document attachment down at the bottom, which would allow you to browse through your file explorer and attach anything from here as well. You see that's a PDF. I can close it at that time. So I have 2 invoices and 1 external attachment that I'm sending to this customer. So now we're going to email this letter. Takes just a minute here to render that. And then once that email's been populated, it's going to show you the verbiage here from that collection letter that you selected within the body of the email. You can, however, modify this as you feel fit. You can see we have some editing options down here at the bottom as well. And then I can see the invoices that I've attached, as well as any external attachments. But maybe you say to yourself, oh wait, I didn't mean to attach this here. You could simply delete it at that time. You also have the ability to review those invoices before they get sent to your customer. And then once you're ready to send that to your customer here, you can send the email or discard the draft. Or if you go to leave this window, we're essentially going to give you those same options, keeping that as a draft in your email outbox, or again, simply discarding it at that time. Now, I've sent myself some examples of these emails in the past when doing demonstrations. This is what it would look like from the client side. A very basic example that I've created. You can make this look a lot prettier on your end, but again, you can see here that we're highlighting some of those customer details, the total amount that is owed to us, and then I can see those invoice attachments here as well that allows the customer to drill into that as a PDF format. And now I'm going to show you how to actually create those collection letters, or again, email templates that you can send to your customer. We understand that collectors don't want to have to manually type those out or recreate the wheel every time they're emailing their customer a collection letter. So again, we allow them to create these in advance and use them on a regular basis. Now, when I was going through the Collect 365 setup earlier, I had highlighted the collection letters from here, but being that emailing is one of the biggest features within our module, we have separated this out as its own individual feature too, called the setup of Collect 365 letters. And as I previously mentioned, we do have a few collection letters that come with the product by default once you've downloaded that from AppSource. And you notice this column off to the right hand side. This is where you have the ability to physically force invoices to be attached to a collection letter. It's called Document Copies Required. So earlier we highlighted the initial letter and the overdue letter. The overdue letter was saying, yes, we need to make sure that invoices are attached. If I wanted to include that here for the initial letter, I simply just hit that checkbox. And as a collector, you do have the ability to create your own collection letters as well. You'll do that here from the custom report layouts, and by all means you can use the standard report layouts that are created by Business Central, or you could use the report layouts here that we've included from Professional Advantage within Collect 365. Being that we showed you the overdue letter earlier from the one-off email, let's stick with that theme here today. And what you'll do is you'll go to Actions, Other, and Export, and that's going to put that collection letter in a Microsoft Word document. From here, you'll enable the editing, and then what you'll do is you go to Developer, Design Mode, and then click on the XML mapping pane. That's going to open up these schemas or functions such as the current date, contact name, and company name. And you can see here off to the right hand side, we have a number of different filters and schemas that you can include within your collection letter. Because again, everyone, you don't want to have to recreate the wheel or manually type these out every time you're sending out a collection letter. If you want to send the same collection letter to, let's say, 5 customers, you want to be able to select just one collection letter that has all of this information populated from Business Central based off those schemas and functions. If I leave this design mode here, you can see it goes back to a simple collection letter. And again, just like the one-off email, you can type whatever you want. Now, once you've created that collection letter, you're going to do the same process here. Go back to Actions, Other, and then import the layout at that time. We are not limiting you on the number of collection letters that you can create. You can create as many as you'd like to for your company, and you can always modify those and delete them along the way. And then the last feature that I want to show everyone here today is creating a query for your customers. One of the biggest issues we see with customers trying to do their collections from an ERP is finding the customers that they should be working with first. That's because a lot of customers using an ERP collect using an age trial balance where customers are sorted alphabetically and not by collector. So we get to use this build queries window here to focus in on a specific group of customers that we want to work with based on a number of restrictions. Now you can see I have a handful that have been created already for demoing purposes, such as finding all customers who meet the admin as a collector, customers who have an aging balance of 90 days overdue, and then just some new queries here for testing. But just like the collection letters and the notes that we showed you here today, you can always create a new query from scratch up here in the top left hand corner. But just to give you an idea of how this works, let's drill into one that I've already created. This one here is trying to find a list of customers with an invoice that's 90 plus days past due. So this general information here is really designed to highlight the last time that you ran this query, which you can see I did earlier today around 1 p.m. this afternoon. And then if it's been modified as of late. So you can see here it's been a couple of weeks since I've modified this, but if any of your collectors come in and modify a query that you usually work with, you'd be able to see that here and then have that conversation with them. But really what we're focusing on here, or filtering, is customer filters and document filters. We do have the ability here to filter on Collect 365 notes, and we do have document dimension filters down here at the bottom as well, but the two biggest and most popular filters again are customer filters and document filters. Let's start with the customer filters here. We can focus in on a specific customer. We can focus in on a specific collector, salesperson, territory code, as well as reminder and payment term code filters. We can also exclude customers with recent payments. Let's say if a customer's made a payment within the last 30 days, you'd have the ability to mark that out there. And then we have some balance due filters as well. Down here for the document filters, we can include closed documents, only include overdue documents, and entries on hold. And then you have the ability here to filter by aging, document date, or due date. You'll notice here if I select doc date, that does change the filters there. Or going back to the aging, this goes to the aging buckets that you've set up from Collect 365. So again, I ran this query earlier today, refreshed that on today's date at 1 p.m., and I had 4 customers that met that criteria, having an invoice that's 90 plus days overdue. Once I have all of my restrictions set here, I'm going to process this. That's where you would refresh it as well, and then query these results. And then you can see the 4 customers that met my restrictions here. You notice when I select on these customers individually, it's going to show me their documents due for payment down here at the bottom. If we wanted to, we can drill into these customers specifically, not only reviewing the customer card here from Business Central, but we also have the ability to drill back into the Collect 365 hub, see some of those notes, and typically the people that we're working with. Now, the ultimate goal of this window here is to be able to mass communicate with your customers. If you do have a group of customers who have an invoice that's 90 plus days overdue, you likely want to send those customers the same collection letter. So from here, we can send a one-off email, we can send a mass email to those who are highlighted, or we could just say, hey, send a mass email to everyone on this query. From this window here, we have the ability to then select that collection letter and a statement here and process those in bulk. We also have the ability to assign these customers to a collector from this Functions tab. That would allow you to do that in bulk too and really save your company some time overall. With that being said, everyone, we're going to wrap up today's Collect 365 demonstration with our automation. So let's hop back here to the Collect 365 hub, and you can see at the top of this menu here we have 3 different options for automation: the collection plan setup, collection plan processing, and collection plan automation. So we're going to walk through the setup of these 3 individually. So we're going to start here with the collection plan setup, and you can see we have 3 items under this: the collection plan actions, the collection plans themselves, and assigning those collection plans to your customers. So we're going to start here with the actions, and this is pretty straightforward. We're basically just putting the action that we want to send to that customer automatically, a description of that action, and then attaching collection letters to these actions, so again, those can be sent out automatically. Now you might be asking yourself, okay, well, what if we leave this blank like you can see here? That would be a manual action such as a phone call, and you would have to do that at your own time. Hopping back here to the collection plan setup, we then have the collection plans, and you can create as many collection plans as you'd like to. You can see I have 2 examples here: a good customer plan and a high risk plan. So we'll dive into the good customer plan here. Very straightforward. Now you notice here that we put these in steps, and then this action will be sent out based off the days overdue of that invoice. Now you're also going to be able to schedule these actions in advance as well. For example, here on this good customer plan, the first step that we're taking is being sent out 7 days in advance of those invoices being past due, with a collection plan action here called upcoming invoices. Now let's hop back to the collection hub here. Last item I want to show from the setup perspective is assigning your customers to a collection plan. And we make this very easy for you. You can see here we have a column called current plan code that tells you if a customer is or is not assigned to a collection plan. For example, you can see of the 5 customers I have on my screen, 4 are currently assigned to a collection plan. So what if we want to assign this last customer to a collection plan as well? This is very straightforward. If we go to the new plan code, you hit this drop down here and select the plan you want to assign them to. So let's go with the high risk plan here. Now what if I want to change the plan of one of my current customers as well? Let's go with the School of Fine Art here and change it to a good customer plan from a high risk plan. Once you have those options selected, you're just going to hit this assign collection plan button, and you can see the customers get updated right away. The next step when it comes to automation then is going to be the collection plan processing, and this again is very straightforward. Once you have your customers assigned to a collection plan and you want to run those actions, you'll simply hit this button here called Run Collection Plan. You're then going to get a message here that says when that is complete. Once that is completed, you can go into the next item here called View Collection Plan Tasks. And this is going to show you all the tasks that are going to be sent to your customer. You can see here the processing status is listed as created at the moment. You can see the customers here and what the actual plan they're assigned to, along with the step in the plan that they're going to receive. And again, at this time, when we're ready to process those, we just click Process Collection Tasks at the top. This is going to take just a minute here. And then you'll notice the processing status has now been updated as well, moving from a created state to a process state. But we understand as collectors, you don't want to see your process tasks here in your to-do list. So rather than keeping them here, you can archive the process collection tasks and then view your archive collection tasks should you ever need to see a history log of what has been automated. Now, for you collectors who are saying to yourself, well, I don't need to review those automated tasks before they get sent, or I don't even have the time to do that, you can actually put these collection plans on a true automated schedule via the job queues. So the third option we have here is called Collection Plan Automation. You can see here we can create the job queues for those collection tasks. You'll then get a pop-up saying that they have been created. And then the next item here is actually processing those tasks. And you can see that those have been created as well. But let's hop over to the job queues here in Business Central. You can see again we have the process tasks and collection tasks here. But let's go to this job queue entries here to set that automated schedule. Now you can see here the collection tasks have been created, that is ready to roll, and then we have the ability here to process those tasks, again based off of a schedule. Now these are ready to roll here, so I'm going to set this on hold here for a minute, just so we can edit this as we feel fit. You can see when I do that, it opens up the ability here to schedule this Monday through Sunday, and then you also have the ability here to put start and end times to actually have that collection plan run during a specific time. You would then need to just put this status as ready, and then those collection plan actions will be automatically processed based off the schedule that you've set down here below for the job queue entry. Now the last thing I want to show everyone here today is a collection email that I've sent to myself automatically to give you an idea of what the customer would receive. Now you can see we've attached the invoices for the customer to review as PDFs at the top here, as well as put those invoice details down at the bottom so the customer can review those there as well. A very basic example here, but again just gives you an idea of what the customer would receive during these automated collection plans. With that being said, everyone, that is going to wrap up today's Collect 365 demonstration. I want to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to review this demo. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to us at griffin.swanson@professionaladvantage.com or any contact page on our website. Thank you all, and have a wonderful day.